After a year-long visit to Kenya, DJ Riley is finally back in the country with tons of tales to tell about his escapades. The young man set out to Kenya to find out more about the concept of gospel DJing. Gospel DJing, Christianity and DJing are two concepts and I bet a lot of other people never thought would collide. But this young man tells us of how these two concepts gel together to build his dream career. Check this out.
My first name's Mumpati Rai Sorojani. I'm actually a gospel DJ. I come from a family of 5. I'm actually the oldest. Yeah, my parents stay in Lobatse. My mom has always been rooted in Christianity. She's been the spearhead of the family when it comes to that. And I can actually say the reason why I'm here is because of her. Because, sometimes you grow up in a Christian family, but at the end of the day, you don't really follow through to what as a Christian is expected of you and all that. So during my teenagehood and all that stuff, I wasn't really rooted in terms of Christianity, but eventually I gave in just because of her.
The outspoken young man then spoke a little about how the two parallels, that is DJing and Christianity, gelled together and created a dream for him.
My dad did construction, so I followed through in his footsteps. So my family has never really been receptive in that sense, in terms of the line of career that I chose. But I think gradually they'll come to terms with what I've picked as my line of career. Well, there are some who accept it, but some who are like, dude, just go back and get a job.
And with every journey comes challenges and a light at the end of the tunnel. Eventually, he found his.
My journey, or the beginning of DJ, really started in Limco when I was studying architecture. So I've always loved, or I always had passion for music and media, and always pictured myself always being on TV, doing my own thing and all that. But I've never ever thought of doing gospel DJing or anything pertaining to gospel itself. So when I was in university, it's the time when I actually got saved. I used to drink a lot. I come from that life, by the way, don't judge. I used to smoke per se, and then eventually there's a time when I was invited to church by my mom. The thing is, I realized one thing, when you live that life, there comes a point where you actually are somehow tired of all of that. So I think that was my time. I really got tired of that lifestyle. So I went to church, and then from there, that's when I got to meet youth there, which really lives a life which is quite different from what I had been doing this whole time. So in a sense, they were living a life which I was never ever used to. So in that sense, I started going with them. The way that they would actually treat women, the way they would actually live their life in terms of fun, it was different from the way that I thought it was, so it brought a different picture to the way that I perceived life and the way that I saw things. So eventually that's when my journey into Christianity started. And then from there, the fact that I loved music and Christianity, the combination brought DJ really out. And then the good thing about it is the fact that even some of my friends got saved because of that. Because I was one of those gang leaders, like I go before people, they would drink and do other things, following after what I've been doing. So in a way, when I got saved, some followed through. Yeah. And then in terms of people perceiving gospel DJing in a way, it's been sort of like so much rejection from my own family and also going into the nation of Botswana as a whole. Because it's something, in Africa, we're not really recipient of something which is quite new. It takes time for people to actually adjust to something which is quite new. For the past 3 years, it's been a journey where it's good and bad at the same time. I've had my ups and downs, but because I knew where I was heading and my passion for music was the drive and God had my back, that's when the journey of DJ Riley started, and from there on I've never looked back.
During his visit, Riley got the chance of meeting the first gospel DJ of Africa and shares the impressions he got, especially being the first DJ of this kind in Botswana. What he shares underlies a principle of humility.
Basically, me going to Kenya was basically a move which was the most important in terms of my ministry and my calling as per se. Because I went there to meet the first gospel DJ in Africa, which is DJ Moz. And the way that he's so humble and he's so eager to empower young people in that sense, I always know, even after, there will be other guys who will definitely do it much more better than me. So I'm so eager to come and multiply myself in a way. So it's not something which will stick forever. Okay, in the history books, guys will say, oh yeah, he was the first gospel DJ and all that stuff. But the cool thing is there will never be another DJ Riley, right? So I will enjoy my moment or how long it takes, but the most important thing is to actually set a standard for other young guys coming up. I'm also a producer, by the way. I do production, I do beats. So with the Misfits Boombox Africa, it's an initiative that God gave me in 2012, and that's when I released the first one. So we are going for our 4th volume this year. So what it is, it's like a compilation of music around Africa. So what we normally do, we compile beats and then we give them to several guys in Africa to either rap, sing, and even do poetry in those beats, and then we do that compilation. So the first one, it had like 6 countries, 22 guys, and then the second one, which was in 2013, which got a nomination in the Boomer Awards, it was like 36 songs, 52 artists, and 8 countries. Because the other 2 countries in North Africa, in East Africa, being Kenya and Nigeria, because mostly we normally had guys from Southern Africa. And the 3rd volume, which we had in 2014, actually did the production in Kenya. It's more of electro, so I worked with guys in Australia called Praise Ugly. So yeah, they had some of my stuff from the Boombox Africa, the 2nd volume. It had sort of like a flair of electro in a way, so they loved that concept, and then they said we could work on something. So I did beats for them, and then we did that album in 2014. So it was the Misfits Boombox Australia. So from now on, it's like you're moving from one continent to the other.
The sky is the limit, they say. At only 23, Riley has accomplished so much, but he sets out to take up even more in the year of 2015.
I've always had a drive to really work hard in a way. So in terms of what I want to accomplish, I think God is the one who goes before me. Not I think, I know. Everything that I've done so far is through Him, and He's the one who strengthens me. And I know for sure in the next few years, whatever that I'm doing right now, it will really impact many, in terms of maybe millions in Africa or so. So my drive, honestly, is to impact and change life.
For all inspired by Riley's story, including myself, this is how he perceives the formula to success in art.
It's nice to be in media, it's nice to do all of that, but I would advise young people to stay in school, by the way. You know, the thing is, our society is not really yet receptive of like media and arts. So the best way to go about it is first get educated. Because I naturally believe that you can't go and stand before kings and you are not even intellectual. I've seen guys who actually stand before kings and then next thing they have to go back to school so that they can relate. You know, imagine those people who are super rich and all that stuff and are not born again. How are you supposed to reach out to those people when you're not even at that level?
DJing and Christianity, who would have thought that these two parallels would gel together so well?